Hello all. I've been obsessed with Sirius XM's 80s on 8 channel, hosted by the original MTV VJs, sans J.J. Jackson, who has since passed away. But Nina Blackwood, Alan Hunter, Mark Goodman, and Martha Quinn, who I still have a crush on. And it got me thinking back to MTV when it first began and my relation to it, and how I was too young to be a snob about it. And I'm still not a snob about what MTV actually was. Now let's kind of go back a bit here. Videos were not new. Videos were not called videos, they were called promo clips, and I must give props to my boys the Beatles here. Videos were created because a lot of these bands just could not handle the demand on them to appear on Ed Sullivan, then fly back to England and do Top of the Pops, then do Shindig or American Bandstand or whatever top 40 television show was on. So they started doing these clips to send to these stations so they wouldn't have to show up. That was the primary focus of this. We'll send you a movie and a short clip, and we don't have to show up, but yet we've appeared on your show. It was an easy way of dealing with these. I think the Beatles did clips. I think they were filmed in early '66 for Help, I Feel Fine, We Can Work It Out, and Day Tripper, and Ticket to Ride. And then, of course, in '66, they released Paperback Writer and Rain, the famous ones, and, of course, Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane, and each one got more and more elaborate. And they were sent to American Bandstand, they were sent to Ed Sullivan, they were sent to, whoever wanted the Beatles to appear on their show would get this clip. And a lot of bands started doing it. I think the Hollies have a number of them, the Beach Boys have a number of them, the Stones have a number of them. So the idea of this was not new. In fact, they weren't called music videos, they were called promotional clips, or promo clips. It was basically an advertisement for your current hit single. That's essentially what it was. So MTV was basically 24 hours of promo clips. To me, I think that was awesome. I don't have, like, the big nostalgia for when it first began. Like that day in August of '81, because I didn't even know about MTV. I first became aware of MTV in August of '82. At some of you Chicagoans who subscribe to me probably are aware, before Taste of Chicago appeared in Chicago, Mayor Jane Byrne had Chicago Fest at Navy Pier. And I was inside the building of Navy Pier, second floor I think it was, and I was hanging out at the WLS booth watching the DJs at WLS broadcast their show. And there was a big booth set up for MTV, big sign for MTV, they had a big screen television, and I thought this was cool. I'm watching Tommy Two-Tone, I'm watching Loverboy, so I thought this was great, and I still do think it's great. I'm not one to say, oh, but you're missing out on the pictures that the music creates in your head. I still have my own pictures in my head, but to also see a visual accompaniment, it was no different than what MGM was doing with the musicals, except this was, in my eyes, taking the musical sections out of the movies. But I didn't have cable, we didn't have cable yet in our neighborhood in Chicago. And I don't know if it came into the actual city yet. I know in the suburbs there was cable. When I would go and visit my cousin in Mount Prospect, that was my dose of MTV, or that was my dose of Nickelodeon when I'd go over to his house. But cable finally came to Chicago, or in our neighborhood of Chicago in '85, the Jefferson Park neighborhood. And we didn't get it. They came door to door, telling us the packages because cable was coming. I think the cable company was Group W Cable, and we didn't get it. So my dose of MTV was across the street at my friend Tyler's house almost practically every day. So I got to know the original VJs on television. And I guess I've become nostalgic for that time frame. And for the longest time, especially in the 90s, I was lambasting the 80s. I couldn't stand the 80s. Although some of the music in the 80s I did like. I still like REM. I still like Tears for Fears. I still liked Depeche Mode. Because they were all in line with the alternative rock mode that was happening. But, you know, some of the pop stuff I couldn't stand. And now I've come back to love that stuff. And since the original VJs are the announcers or disc jockeys on 80s on 8, Martha, Nina Blackwood, Mark Goodman, and Alan Hunter, it's kind of like having it back again. And I didn't realize how much I missed what MTV actually was. And I think it's a shame that MTV is a shadow of what they started out to be. I don't know if could an all music channel being hosted by on-screen personalities or disc jockeys or video jockeys, VJs, could that work nowadays? In an interview I read with Mark Goodman and Martha Quinn, they both said that it really couldn't. So MTV had to adapt. So they kind of applaud the adapting. Now Nina Blackwood, she doesn't. She's like, it's a travesty that they don't play music on that station anymore. You may be able to catch videos at the hours that don't matter. But MTV was music television. Okay, maybe not show videos, but have something music related on it, which I would think would be the ideal. Because that's what you are. MTV stands for music television. And there's a lot of books out there as far as what happened. I mean, corporate started dictating things to MTV in the late 80s. Spring Break came about because they wanted beer sponsorship. Because that's where the money was. They had like candy bars and stuff like that. You would always have them at the end of a segment. We'll have the world premiere of the new Huey Lewis in the News video right after this word from Twix, and cut to commercial. But they wanted beer sponsorship, and where could you get beer sponsorship but at spring breaks? So that's how they were able to get like Budweiser to sponsor MTV, to be a sponsor on MTV, by doing those spring breaks. Clever. And now it's like my beautiful big fat teen wedding mom in Jersey Shore, just after we've returned from Laguna Beach, whatever the hell those shows are, in the real world. The first Real World was okay. But could it work nowadays? Could an all... I guess that's the question I'm posing here. Could an all music channel work nowadays? Granted, we have YouTube now. So if we want to watch a video of a favorite artist, all we got to do is go to YouTube and pull it up. There wasn't YouTube in '81. There wasn't YouTube in the '90s. And YouTube maybe is kind of taken away from that. But I've been going back and finding old MTV clips, and I'm like, man, that was something. It was a revolution. And the critics that sort of diss it, I think they are missing the point of what it was. It was basically just have an all music channel. Have a channel where you could see all these great promotional clips. And I mean, if you look at what they played on the first day, it wasn't like MTV appeared and they commissioned a bunch of artists to do videos. No, these were things that existed. If you look at the playlist on MTV's first day, that was Rod Stewart's biggest day, I would think. Because he was the one that had the most promo clips out there. And a lot of his clips I saw on Solid Gold. You remember Solid Gold? I mean, they had Young Turks, Passion, Do You Think I'm Sexy, Hot Legs. It was basically Rod Stewart fest. I mean, historically, video killed the radio star, which I don't think MTV realized what the song was actually about. It was actually lamenting the fact that video killed the radio star. It wasn't celebrating it. The second video was Pat Benatar's cover of You Better Run. But a majority of the day was spent with Rod Stewart. I mean, you did have sticks with Rockin' the Paradise, and there's take a look on YouTube. Somebody's got like a 5-part thing of MTV's first day. They must have videotaped it. But to me, it's nostalgic. I loved MTV because I didn't have it for the longest time. And when I got it, which was we finally got cable in the winter of '88. It was like February, March of '88. And I was addicted to that second wave of VJs. Adam Curry, I roll my eyes at now. Downtown Julie Brown. But again, I missed seeing the guys that I saw when I would go over to my friend Tyler's house across the street or my cousin's house in Mount Prospect. J.J. Jackson, Mark Goodman, Alan Hunter, Nina Blackwood, and my crush, Martha Quinn. I'm a married man. Stop thinking that. So, do you think MTV did the right thing in evolving to what they are nowadays? Being these reality television shows, Teen Mom, 16 and Pregnant, My Super Sweet 16, which I roll my eyes at, Jersey Shore, Laguna Beach, whatever the heck else it is. Or do you think, or do you think they should keep with music, or should have kept with music? Or is it true that an all-day, all-music television cable channel could work nowadays? What are some of your thoughts? Because I do miss it. But do I miss having a music channel like MTV, seeing videos all the time? Or do I miss, or am I nostalgic for what was before?